In this example, we're going to do a demo using masking. Masking is a technique that allows us to hide or reveal certain content. So we'll be making something like this animation. We have some images that are being revealed, and then we have these logos animating onto the screen. So there's a few techniques I want to explore in this. We're first going to start with this Photoshop file, which just has all the different assets here, and these aren't really composed. We'll compose it in After Effects, but you could also, it might be a better idea to actually design it and set it up so that you're animating it to the exact look that you want. We're going to open up After Effects here, and we have a new project. I'm going to open up this file, which is called masking demo. And again, I want to import this as a composition. Okay, so we'll be importing this file into the project. Here's the composition that came out from here. And you can see I have all the different layers labeled as I had them in my Photoshop file. And I'll start with this composition. This one is already set to HD. If I look at my composition settings, you can always check the settings here. And if you want this to be longer or shorter, right now it's set to 4 seconds, but if I wanted to make it 5 seconds, I could just change that. Again, the time code is hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. And I want to talk about the timeline a little bit. Here you can see it goes horizontally from 0 seconds all the way to 5 seconds. These bars represent how long the content is. In this case, you can see it kind of cuts off here. That's because when we first created the composition, it was at 4 seconds. But if you want to extend it, you can always just pull this out this way. And if we're editing clips together, this is a really visual way of seeing your content. You can see that as I go here, I don't see the logos. And then when I come up to here, they pop on because this is a visual representation of where these elements are in the timeline. So, this background I think is just a white layer. If you want to just solo it or just see one layer, you could hit inside of this. You can just hit this one button, and you can see that's just a white layer. So maybe we'll start with that, and then it might be a good idea for us to kind of sequence these a little bit. Again, this is 1 second here, and you can see the time code here. When you move the playhead around, you'll see it says 28 frames, 29 frames, and then 1 second. So that's how you navigate this timeline. So we might want to think about how long each one of these clips is and then adjust it accordingly. We can kind of do this as we go, but I'll just start with something rough. Okay, so again, I can press spacebar to preview it, and this is just showing me the clips I have in order. All right, so let's look at masking this. What we want to do when we create a mask is click on the layer we want to mask, and we'll use the shape tool. You can pick one of these different shapes here. Maybe I'll start with a circle. And I can just click and drag. If I want it to be a circle, I can hold down Shift. So you can see by default it's going to be set to reveal or add is the mode. You could subtract it, so this takes that out of that. Let's do add for right now, and what we want to do is animate this using keyframes to start off small and then get big to kind of reveal this image. So if we open up masks here now, if you ever want to see more content in the layer, just kind of click these. We'll go to mask. We can start with mask expansion. Now I actually probably want to start smaller than this. This is a little bit too big, so I can go in the negative or positive direction. Maybe I'll go all the way negative until I can't see anything anymore. And I just hit the keyframe button. So now we're in keyframe mode, and then I'll expand this. So I'm clicking and dragging, making it large. There we go. So that is going to animate. All you need is 2 keyframes to create this animation. And you can play with the speed. If this is too slow, then just bring the keyframes closer together, right? That means it takes less time to complete that transformation. So there's that. And again, we can drag the whole layer as you're editing this. The keyframes stay stuck to the layer. So if you want to move things around, you can do this, or you can, on the layer itself, move the keyframes. But let's do that one. Okay, let's go to the next layer and let's try a different masking technique. We're going to use, let's use a rectangle tool. So let's select the layer we want to mask. I'm going to start by drawing it on this side. Again, by default, it's going to go onto the add mode. And what I'm going to do this time is, last time I did mask expansion, I could do that as well. And you could see that expands the mask in all directions. I also want to show something. You could also do a mask path animation. So I'm going to turn the keyframe on. It saves the location. It saves the path here. So what you can do then is go to a different place in time, use the selection tool, and if I clicked and dragged, so I'm only selecting this one point right now, and I could pull this, and this lets me, get more control if I wanted to have a different sort of mask. Like maybe I wanted to do something diagonal. What would that look like? So we're not just stuck with expansion. That's one example. Maybe I'll just play with it. Again, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. I really just want to show the technique. I'm not super concerned about how it looks. So there we go. That's kind of, animating the mask path, and you can see that's moving around. And you could draw a really complicated path too. I should also say that you could, if you wanted to draw a mask, you could click on this and then actually draw your mask with the pen tool. If you wanted a very specific shape mask. I'm going to undo that. We don't really need that, but that's an option. Let's see what else there is to do. Let's play with masks a little bit more. Maybe the next thing we'll do is start with, let's do a circle again. I want to click the layer. Whoops. The reason I'm not seeing anything right here is because I'm not actually on the layer. There, you should see that. So be careful of where you are in the timeline. Sometimes this trips people up. Okay, so I just want to look at some more options here. We could do a mask opacity animation if we wanted to, right? I'm not going to do that in this case, but I wanted to show something, which is the mask feather, which is this edge around here. You can make it softer if you want to, so it doesn't have to be a hard edge. So we could do something like that. Maybe I'll just do mask expansion here. Again, I'll start off maybe kind of small or kind of negative. There we go. That looks good to me, and then I'll zoom it out just to give you this experience of seeing this feathered edge, which sometimes you'll want that more softened look. Again, that's looking a little bit slow right now, but okay. Okay, so here's our animation. We're animating the masks. You can see I've done expansion, mask path, and then let's go in and animate these logos. Go ahead and I might move these layers around a little bit. Just select them all and hit U to kind of collapse them. Again, one thing you can do is select all the layers, hit U to close or expand them. Sometimes helpful when you're setting this up. Maybe I'll move them over. So I think the first thing I wanted to do was maybe animate the Simpsons logo. That looks like this one here. I feel like this is a little bit big. So again, I could have composed this in Photoshop and maybe that would have been better, but I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. All right, I want this to animate. I want to show one other technique. Now I could have this just animate from the outside, but I want to kind of mask this off so that it looks like it's dropping in. So what I'm going to do is actually create what's called a track matte. Now this matte will either hide or reveal, again, kind of like a mask, the layer that it's attached to. The way we do that is I mean, you could do it with an existing layer solid. I'm going to do it with a shape in this case. Now, when I'm making the track matte here, I actually don't want to select any layer. With the other masks, we want to select the layer. In this case, I just want everything deselected. I'm going to draw a shape here, and you can see that a new shape layer formed. And now I want this to be, this shape right here is going to be what gets revealed. I only want this logo to be revealed, and if the logo moves outside of this, I want it to be hidden. So what we'll do is the order is really important. The shape layer is going to go on top. The track matte layer is going to go on top, and we need to activate the track matte. If you don't see the option here, you want to hit toggle switches and modes down here, and you should see track matte. And what we'll do is we'll select this layer, shape layer. So we'll do an alpha matte of that. Now that's going to use this portion here. We could do the inverse of that, which is alpha inverted, but we're going to do an alpha matte of that. And now you can see this layer actually turned off because it's being used as a track matte. And it might look like nothing really happened, but what's great about this is now if we animate the position, right, I'm going to hit the keyframe button. I'm going to go to the front of this layer. If the keyboard shortcut is I, the letter I will take you to the start of a layer. And from here, whoops, I'm going to animate out. And you can see that track matte that I set up is kind of hiding hiding the logo when it goes outside of it. So here's the animation, and you know, I could do this with the other keyframes too, but I'm going to turn on easy ease. I'm going to hit F9, and you could also go into here and right now, again, I'm in the graph editor, and right now I'm using the value graph, but I'm going to go to speed graph here and just kind of tweak this a little bit so that it goes a little bit faster and then slows down. That's the kind of animation that I want for that. Yeah. Okay, so I've set up that first part, and looks like I have this Fox logo here that I might want to get rid of. So maybe we'll let it hold for a little bit. We'll animate it off and let the Fox logo come in. So I'll drop another keyframe here, and then maybe I'll slide it back out. So let's see what that looks like. If you want to change the timing, you can move the keyframes around. And let's do a similar thing here. So we want to make a track matte for this. And maybe we'll start this a little bit lower. Just trying to think about this. Maybe it'll slide in while the other one's coming out. Again, when I make this track matte, I don't want any layer selected, so I'm going to deselect everything. I just clicked off of it, and I will make my own track matte now. This layer. The layer order is important. This layer should go right on top of the layer it's going to mask. So I move that down here. This is the Fox logo, and I'm going to go to track matte and turn it to alpha matte. Now I'm going to animate the Fox TV. I'm going to hit the keyframe button. So this is where I want it to be. And then I'll go backwards in time. I'll go to the start of it and I'll animate it off. So we can kind of see there's one slides out, one slides in. Again, easy ease. I'm going to do F9. And if you want to finesse it, you can go into here and maybe have a similar kind of animation. So let's see what that looks like. Here's the whole animation as a preview. Let me just and yeah, you can move this around. Like I sort of feel like it might be a little bit slow in some areas. You can always, again, move the keyframes closer together to speed it up, or move the layers. So that's an example of masking in After Effects. There's, just to review really quickly, you can draw a mask onto a layer by clicking the layer, using Shape tool or the Pen tool to draw the mask. You can animate the mask with a few properties. We've got mask path, mask feather, opacity, expansion. And then we learned about creating a track matte out of another layer, and you can use a shape or the whole layer itself, and we can use that to hide or reveal in a different way. So these are some examples. There's one other thing I'm going to show, which maybe I'll actually make a new composition, and I'll pull it out. And this is a new composition that has nothing in it, but let me grab one layer. This is showing you how to work within the composition, and if you have assets and layers, you can pull them down into here. I'm going to import another file. I'm going to double click into here, and I want to grab an animation to show what a Luma matte is. So I have these different mattes here. These are movies, and I'm going to just import them. Importing them as footage is fine. Okay, so let's take a look at what these videos are. I'm going to just double click on it to just preview it. You can see this pulls up a preview. I'll press spacebar just to see what that looks like. So this is an ink reveal. You can see it starts off white and then it turns black, and it just kind of spreads. I'm going to just kind of pull this so we can see. What I could do is use the light and dark values, the white and black values, to actually reveal in a similar way as the track matte, the layer underneath. So we set it up the same way. We have the layer we want to be revealed or hidden, and then we have this asset on top. I'm going to toggle switches and modes so I can hit track matte, and you can see this other option here, Luma matte. Now, if we do Luma matte, it's going to use the white areas, Luma means light, to reveal it, and that means if there are any black areas, they'll be hidden, right? Right now, you can see it started off. Remember, the video started off as white, so everything's revealed, and then as that video goes to black, you can see it's being hidden. You could also do a Luma matte inverted, which is the opposite, which is using the black values to reveal. So remember, it starts off as white, and then now it's using the black to reveal the layer underneath. So you can see what that looks like, and maybe we'll just have some fun with this. Let's grab another layer. Again, the layer order is really important. Let's go to, whoops, just select that one layer. Let's go to Luma matte. I should have previewed this. This is what this looks like. It starts off white, and then it's kind of an animation that with diagonal stripes, and it goes to black. So I also want to just point out what I'm doing here is I can double click on it to see a preview of it. You want to be really careful. A lot of people get stuck. They like look at, they might double click on something and they think they're not aware of which, where they are. You want to check that you're inside the composition, the correct composition. In this case, I'm comp 1. There we go. So sometimes people get stuck in these inner worlds, and that's a problem. So let me take this and move this over so that we can kind of animate it together. In this case, I want to do a similar thing where I use Luma inverted on that animation. It's a bit messy because there's a lot of things happening at once, but you can just see, again, what I'm doing is I'm using a black and white video. And let's see, I use Luma matte. The ink dark, this is the other Luma matte example that I have, which is similar. It starts off black and then it goes to all white. So if you wanted to use that to hide a reveal, you can pick either Luma matte inverted or Luma matte. All right, and just to review one more time, let me, whoops, I accidentally put this composition into this file, but here's the original masking demo that we made together. And when you want to export this out, we'll go to Composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. And again, it takes a little bit of time to start up the media encoder. If it's starting up for the first time, we'll go into here. We'll use H.264. This is a masking demo, and we'll press play. And this is going to render the video. It might, again, the first time you open this up, it might take a little bit of time, but hopefully it goes a little bit faster for you. Once it actually starts rendering, it'll be pretty quick. And here's that video we just made. It's quick, it's a little bit dirty, but it should give you an idea of how to use masking in this context.